Welcome to Voices in My Head with me, Yameer Adhar. Happy New Year, and I hope 2020 is what you want it to be for you. I have a special guest today for you who I'm going to be in discussion with, and that is me. You just get me today. It's the 4th episode, and I'm grateful to you all for the love and support and all the numbers that we've been getting on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We've got actually an overwhelming response on YouTube in particular. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you very much. The reason that I wanted to have a one-on-one with you now is because there are a lot of things that I have personally experienced and overcome. And I think this is a good platform for me to do it one-on-one with you rather than having another person in discussion, that format is going to continue. Every 4th episode is going to be just me and you, and me sharing some things about my life and how I overcame them with you. So I'm doing this out of Goa, hence the attire, t-shirt and shorts and slippers. I wish I could live here forever and never have to go back to Delhi, but we all have our responsibilities. So I wanted to start by just stepping back and actually just telling you about how I think you should consume a podcast and how it's helped me consume podcasts and the way I consume them. Some of the feedback, I assume a lot of people are new to this podcasting space from a consumer perspective. And they've not consumed podcasts before. A lot of people who ask me, what is a podcast? So, think of it as just a radio show or any sort of show that you consume. And typically podcasts are audio heavy. So you have to be able to tune into them in whatever way you like. Would you like to consume it on a YouTube? Do you like to consume it on a Spotify or an Apple podcast or a Google podcast or a Stitcher? Or there are so many platforms that this podcast in particular or many other podcasts are available. If you like, if you like to see it, if you like to see the person talking or the people I'm in conversation with, you'll need to tune into YouTube. A lot of podcasts that I do consume them on YouTube. I don't necessarily need to see them. I just hear the audio, and that's what podcasts are kind of meant to be. You can just hear. The idea is for you to hear the discussion or whatever the podcaster is saying or whoever he's in discussion with, and get content, audio from the audio alone. You don't have to see the visuals. That's just something extra to keep you perhaps engaged, and if that's what you like, go ahead. Otherwise, I can understand it can become very difficult for someone to consume a podcast which is say 30 minutes or 1 hour in our busy lives, in the schedules that we keep today. Now, I consume hours worth of podcasts every day, and I would say I listen to maybe an average of 2 hours of podcasts every day. But I do that in minutes. No, I don't have to spend 2 hours. So how do I listen to a 1 hour podcast in 30 minutes? It's very easy. And I've, of course, had to train myself over the years to do this. And how you do that is not by skipping or skimming over the content. Every podcast player, whether it is YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, there is a way to increase the playback speed. So when you go into your YouTube settings when a video is playing, there's something called playback speed. And you can increase the speed, which will be set at 1 obviously, to 1.25. So that means it's going to be playing 25% faster, or 1.5, which is going to be playing 50% faster, or 1.75. If you make it 2, that's 200% faster. Most of the times you can't understand a word of what the people are saying unless they're speaking extremely slowly and clearly, which doesn't happen. So I have been able to train myself to take it up to 1 point. So I listen to podcasts or audiobooks between 1.5 to 1.75 speed. That's why I can consume a 1 hour podcast 75% faster than it would. I don't have to sit for the entire 60 minutes. In 30 minutes or close to 35 minutes, I can finish a 1 hour podcast. And that's what I recommend for you to, especially for those who are giving me the feedback that we really liked what you're doing, but the format is too long and we couldn't concentrate and we couldn't give 1 hour of our time to it. So to those people I say, you don't have a problem binge watching Netflix all night and seeing 5 episodes back to back and sleeping at 4 a.m. and ruining your sleep and health. but that's your personal choice. I can understand it's difficult to compare a wellness podcast like mine to an episode of a House of Cards or something on Netflix, or Sacred Games, where there's so much more exciting stuff going on. But this is for your health. That's what I want for you. So you can spend that, make that extra effort to get that content from me. And I've just given you a very easy hack. Increase the speed. Try and train yourself. Eventually you'll be able to keep on increasing the speed till the words become absolutely, inaudible, or they are, you can't understand them. They're too fast. Perhaps inaudible is not the right terminology. But you can, I know, comfortably 1.25, 1.5, you'll be able to understand what's going on, and you've just increased the speed of the podcast by 50%. Why they need to be 60 minutes? Because not just because a lot of podcasts I follow and I admire and I take cue from, their formats are also 40, 50 minutes, 1 hour. One of my favorites is Joe Rogan. I have even heard a 4-hour podcast. I heard it over a week. It's not like I spent 4 hours in one sitting, but I did finish it because the podcaster and the person he was in conversation with was interesting enough for me to be able to take out 4 hours of my time or 3 hours of my time spread across a week. So I think these are just excuses. If you don't like the content, it's very easy to tune out. You can just switch this off right now. You don't like what I'm saying or the guest is saying, or you don't agree with it, that's fine too. It's your choice, which is why you have the control in your hand. You can skip ahead to the topic tag. That's why I give topic tags, so that there may be something specific that you're interested to hear, but you may not be interested in the entire conversation. So you can check the show notes in all the formats, wherever you're watching it or hearing it. You'll be able to skip ahead to a specific time in the podcast episode where you can hear a specific section of the podcast. Because in a large discussion, you may not want to hear everything. Like in the previous episode with Parul Parashar, which is done phenomenally well, and I'm so grateful to you all for that. You may be interested to only know about how do I help someone identify if they are depressed or not, and you may not want to go. You may not need to know what depression is. If you're interested, of course, you see the whole thing, but you can skip ahead. So these are my 2 bits on the podcast itself. Another thing I wanted to, I want to keep it simple. For your last 3 episodes, or the first 3 episodes before this, have kind of centered more around mental health of individuals. But this is an overall wellness podcast, and I keep saying that mental and physical health are the same thing for me. So I wanted to speak about some things perhaps that can be classified as more physical health than mental health. And I think that starts with I'm someone who likes data. And that doesn't mean I'm a nerd. It just means I like data on my fitness. So for many years, I've been wearing a fitness tracker. I used to do it with when the first Nike Fuel band had come out. That was the first fitness tracker ever, I think, which gained mainstream popularity. But after that, I used the Jawbone. But I finally got fixated on the Fitbit, and I've used many versions of the Fitbit. The one I'm using now is the Fitbit Ionic. It's a pure fitness tracker smartwatch. So I'm not a smartwatch fan from the perspective of having an extension of my phone on my wrist, because I don't believe that I want constant bombardment. I already have the phone. I'm already addicted to the phone. I don't need another device to be addicted to. But what I do trust, a pure, which is what I recommend, is that you don't have to buy the most expensive one. Get any good branded fitness tracker, which at least does your steps and your heart rate, and which also monitors your sleep. And I think that's the sleep one is crucial. Most of the ones that monitor sleep also monitor all the other parameters like steps and heart rate, because that's what I just want to focus this episode on sleep, and I'm going to be very, very basic about it. A full disclosure, disclaimer: I am not a medical expert. I am only sharing with you things that I have experienced and how I have, used them, used tools, biohacks to help me improve my life in those fields. So I want to talk about sleep. If you feel like you have a medical condition, consult your healthcare provider, whoever it is. Do your own homework. I know people say don't, Google symptoms and stuff because immediately cancer shows up, whatever it is. But do your homework. There is enough literature, there are enough good books available for you to do some homework and improve your life without straight away just saying, if you have a problem of sleep, that I pop a sleeping pill and I go to sleep. So that's, I think, a much broader discussion. I want to come back to the fitness tracker. So invest in any fitness tracker. I'm not affiliated to any, so please go ahead, whether it's Fitbit or whether it is, your Apple Watch is tracking stuff. But these are all expensive ones. There are much cheaper ones available. I think for a few thousand rupees, you can buy a decent fitness tracker now. And start, if you already use it, I'll just come to that. But if you don't, just start wearing it, get some data. I would say 2-3 weeks of data would be useful for you, and especially your sleep data, which is, this fitness tracker of mine gives me 3 parameters when I sleep. It gives me REM sleep, which is, the dream state sleep, rapid eye movement, REM. It tells me how much deep sleep I got, and it also tells me light sleep, which is majority of the night is made up of light sleep. And it also tells me if I've woken up, how many times was I tossing and turning, and how many times did I wake up in the middle of the night. A lot of times when I feel that I've got a great night's sleep, I actually haven't, because I see as soon as I wake up, I check what my sleep score was. So Fitbit gives you a sleep score. There are a lot of other devices that also give you a sleep score, and you'll soon, when you start using it, know what is the score range that you need to have. I think above 80 is good. So when you start analyzing the sleep data, you'll see how much REM and deep sleep you're getting. And you need to target to get more REM and more deep sleep. I would say everyone says you need to sleep, 7 to 9 hours, or the general perception is, but no one is talking that much about the quality of sleep. So you may be in bed for 9 hours, but how much quality of real sleep are you really getting? Only the Fitbit, only your fitness tracker, including the Fitbit, can give you those parameters, can tell you how much REM sleep, how much deep sleep, and that's the only way you will know that, okay, I'm getting this data now. Now what do I do with it? How do you know that your sleep's getting better, and how do you know if you're doing something to improve your sleep quality that it's working? Because trust me, I am very in tune with my own body and I'm hyper aware of my health. I still sometimes do not know. Sometimes I feel I haven't slept that well, but the data is showing that I've had an amazing night. So you have to understand that this technology is built. I'm not saying don't follow your gut instinct, but this is to enhance and give you some sort of parameters and numbers to just know if what you're doing is working or it's not working. So go right ahead and do that. You may or may not have heard, but it's very simple hacks that have helped me. And definitely, if there is a change in those parameters, my quality of sleep is not the same. Simple stuff like you need to be in a cool room. Now, whether that's air conditioning or whether that's, I don't know, in a proper insulation and air conditioning, your fan should be working properly, because the body needs to cool down in order for you to sleep. And for me, this is common knowledge. It may or may not be, because I keep reading about this. I keep trying to enhance things keep trying to enhance myself to get keep trying to hack the system or hack my body to get a good night's sleep. So the room, for me, the room needs to be cold. It needs to be as dark as possible. Even small lights in the room, your TV, the blue, green, red light, your air purifier emits light, your phones, your air conditioning has a small green light which is on all night, which is indicating. So what I have done is I've actually taped over them, and I've got blackout curtains. In my in-laws place where I'm staying in Goa, they don't have blackout curtains, so I wear an eye mask and sleep, because I know the quality of my sleep is different when I don't wear it and it's 4 or 5 a.m. and the light from the outside, the sunlight starts coming in. It does disrupt your sleep, and that's what, your body is designed to wake up when there is light. So if you keep stimulating it, or if you keep if you sleep in an environment that there's a lot of external light, or even small spectrums of light can disturb your sleep. So I'm not saying you have to go as crazy as me and tape over the lights and tape over the every small LED that is showing up in the room. But what you can definitely do is invest in a 50 rupee eye mask, or just make an eye mask out of some really dark black cloth that you just tie around your head loosely and sleep, and you will see 100% you will see a quality of a difference in the quality of your sleep. And how will you know that is again through the metrics or through the data of your tracker, which is why the sleep tracker is very important, because otherwise you won't know if it's working. And why have I chosen sleep? I've chosen sleep because it's I think one of the most important pillars of health that is ignored. It's again extremely common knowledge. All disease, all problems, or including mental issues, depression, anxiety, lack of sleep, all these things get triggered. It's very simple in terms of when you don't sleep, your stress hormone in the body goes up. A stress hormone like cortisol, for example, which you also get when you drink coffee, which is fine because you're having coffee in the morning when you're trying to wake up. But if your lack of sleep, or when you are sleep deprived, naturally the body produces more cortisol in it, the stress hormone. And when the stress hormone in the body, like cortisol, is high, your immunity is lower, because cortisol or stress, the more stress in the body, the lower your immunity. And that's not a theoretical perspective. It is when I'll give you an interesting example, and I learned this through this amazing guy called Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's written some brilliant books. He's the father of epigenetics. This is a long discussion which I'm not going to get into, but I just wanted to mention his name. When any person, let's say you're getting an organ transplant, so when a foreign organ is being transplanted into a person's body, the body's immune system starts attacking that a lot of times. So what do they do in order for the body to not attack that new organ so that the body can accept someone else's organ? Is they inject the patient with stress hormones like cortisol. And they do that because the moment the stress hormone is injected in the body and cortisol increases, it suppresses the immunity. So if the immunity is suppressed, the body can accept the organ and not attack it. So this is just to give you this is just to explain how crucial sleep is, because if you wanna deprive yourself of sleep, you're gonna be getting sick again and again and again. And I feel people who have lower immunities, or who regularly do get ill, or if there's a virus in the air, you'll catch it. There's a cold, you met someone who had a cold, you catch it. Is the chances of you catching these diseases, or catching a viral infection, or just the common cold, are much higher if you are sleep deprived. So you need to fix your sleep. Cold room, dark room. What else can you do? Sometimes I've experimented with some supplements which are totally natural. There is a supplement of Organic India that I use called Sleep. It's called Peaceful Sleep of Organic India. It's got Brahmi and Ashwagandha, and the primary Brahmi, Ashwagandha and Tulsi are the three things that it has. But the main component of that supplement, or that medicine, whatever you want to call it, is Brahmi. And Brahmi is a herb that helps the brain calm down, and it works. I've seen when I don't have it every day because I don't have a problem with my sleep, but once in a while when I do take it because I want to experiment, or I've had a tough couple of days and I want to get a really good night's rest, I have a pill the Brahmi, the Organic India Peaceful Sleep pill before I sleep, and I see that my REM scores and sometimes even my deep sleep scores are higher. That means I've got more REM sleep. I've been in the dream state for longer. So that's good. So these things do work. A lot of times people wake up in the middle of the night because their blood sugar has crashed, and that's because you don't have your body's struggling to maintain normal blood sugar levels. So one more hack, something that I do often is, and that's just because I like it, I have a chamomile tea before I sleep, and you put some raw honey in it. Raw honey, okay? No, this is no, just find organic raw honey, maybe a teaspoon, and put it in chamomile tea. Chamomile tea is anyway going to induce sleep. It'll relax you. I drink chamomile tea throughout the day because I just love it's a non-caffeinated tea, and especially at night it helps with a good night's sleep and it helps you to relax. The other major thing that's disrupting our sleep is our mobile phone. And I'm guilty of this too, of being on the phone till the last second before I sleep, or checking something before I sleep on my phone unnecessarily. So please keep the blue light filter on. I'm using a Samsung Galaxy phone. The Android now as a default has a blue light filter. So keep that on, especially in the evening. Just put it on and leave it on. Unless you are, you're into some sort of work that requires you to specifically see the exact colors. And if you need to do that, switch it off for a few seconds, finish your work and switch it back on, because your eyes need to get away from this blue light, this artificial blue light that our phones are emitting. That's firstly, it's damaging your retina, beyond repair, because we're on it all the time. And it's also 100% disrupting your sleep. So put on the blue light filter. It takes a while to get used to that yellowish, screen. But I leave I do the blue light filter 24 hours. So I've gotten so used to it that you just blank it out after a while. So it won't matter to you. So keep that on. That will definitely help you. You will be able to see the difference in your sleep scores. Your sleep score is going to be better, and that's going to just help your overall health. If you are taking some sort of pharmaceutical medication to induce sleep, I think it's important for you to understand that when you eat a sleeping pill to sleep, you're actually not getting the normal sleep that you need to get, because a sleeping pill is or some people drink alcohol, or there's a difference between being unconscious and being asleep. If I knock you on the head, you'll be unconscious, but you weren't sleeping. Or if you bang your head against the wall and you faint, you're not sleeping. But that's exactly what something like alcohol or a sleeping pill is doing to you. So there are lots of things that I want to get into. I want to keep this episode short, and I want to keep it extremely limited to very easy and natural things that you can do to fix your sleep if you do have a problem with your sleep. One of the other things that you can do, and that is like a magic cure for all problems, literally all problems, is vitamin D. So I in Delhi, where I spend most of my time, I don't get enough vitamin D. So even there, and I am on a weekly vitamin D supplement. Please, this is something I highly recommend. I'm not a doctor, but I still recommend it based on the research that I've done. You can do your own homework, consult your physician. I'm reasonably sure if you today go and get your vitamin D levels tested, you're either going to be under the recommended bandwidth, or you're going to be on the lower limit of the bandwidth. And that's because most Indians are, in fact, the most of the planet is deprived of vitamin D, and the vitamin D levels in our blood are low. And this is required for so many, like every health issue you can think of gets better with if your vitamin D levels are good. So whatever you can do to enhance your vitamin D levels. In Goa, I am still on a weekly vitamin D supplement, despite the fact that I spent hours in the sun. When I started doing, when I pressed record on the camera, there was no sun here, but suddenly there is, and I am feeling a bit warm, but I'm loving it. I love being in the sun. I think it is so important for me, even for mental health. So the sun is gonna help you with depression, anxiety, all sorts of mental disorders on the one end of the spectrum. On the other end, it even helps stuff like asthma, arthritis, cancer, whatever you can think of. Vitamin D is deficient in most people, and we need to do things to increase the vitamin D levels in our body. Have a supplement, please. In fact, I recommend, please have a vitamin D supplement. The only people who should avoid vitamin D is if you've got very high calcium levels, and calcification in the arteries and stuff is an issue, but most people don't. If you suspect that you do, again, consult your physician, consult your medical care professional, whoever the provider is. But I'm pretty sure that from today is something you can do right now. If you increase vitamin D, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to sleep so much better. You're even going to burn more calories. So you can eat more, even though calories is a metric that I hate and it's a flawed metric. It doesn't work. It's defunct. It was designed for something else. You can, I'll maybe speak about that on another day, on another episode of the podcast. So, we've spoken about how I think you should consume podcasts. We've spoken about fitness trackers and why I think it's important for you to start getting some data so you know it's going to improve. And what I would really appreciate is your feedback. So send in your emails. My email address will be available to you in the show notes. You can, if you're watching this on a platform that allows you to, or if you're hearing this on a platform that allows you to comment, please comment. And of course, it would be great for you to share and subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers I have, the more power that I get to be able to communicate good ideas to you, and for me to get motivated to really keep doing this and keep bringing good content to you. If there's any particular subject you'd like me to, if there's any particular subject that you'd like me to talk about more, if there's any specific person that you'd like to see on the podcast, please give me your feedback. I'll try and get them however I do. There are a lot of interesting people that I have planned for you to be able to get something from their stories that are going to be showing up on the podcast. For now, I hope this has been of some use to you. If it is very generic according to you and you think you already know this, I'm very happy, because that just tells me that there are more people who are taking control of their health. The next time that I come and do a one-on-one with you will be episode 8. I'm going to try and speak to you about the method that actually helped me cure my asthma and really helped me to fix all my wellness issues and just get my health to where I really want it to be, mentally, physically. And that's a breathing technique and some other things associated with it. I will speak more about that in detail in episode 8. For now, thank you for tuning into Voices in My Head. Thank you for taking out the time. And I hope some of these things are going to help you to improve your life.